Hi there, I'm Zak Shaikh and I'm a Vice President at Magid in the Global Media and Entertainment team, and I work in the Emotional DNA product. And today I want to talk to you guys a bit about a show that really looks at how old IP can be reimagined in really interesting and fresh ways. Um, our data set, Emotional DNA, is something that's been around for about 7 years, and we measure 36 attributes, emotional attributes of video content. And one of the really interesting things that we've seen in the last 12 months in particular is when you look at the attributes that that matter most to viewers and the attributes of the most popular programming, it's kind of shifted over time, and consumer preferences reflect that. And what we've seen is the attribute that has really popped in the last 12 months is original, and that consumers seem to be seeking original content more than they ever have before. And our theory about that is the fact that we think because it's such a cluttered landscape now, there's so much content out there that standing out is probably more important than it even was 5-6 years ago. And one show that's done a really great job of that is The Mandalorian. Super buzzworthy show, written about loads, comes from a huge legacy franchise, Star Wars franchise, has 11 live action Star Wars titles that precede it. And in our data set, it's performed phenomenally well. Its audience reach it is actually the second highest streaming original out there in the landscape, behind only Stranger Things. So it's got the audience, and which is also pretty amazing given that Disney Plus is a new streaming service, and compared to Netflix, which has been around now for quite a while. But then what's even more interesting is looking at what are the attributes that really are driving the viewing of The Mandalorian. And some of the attributes are what you'd expect for the genre. When you look at the top attributes here, you can see that like exciting, pops up. It is an exciting show. You'd expect it to be exciting. That's kind of a table stakes for the genre. Imaginative, also really important for kind of the sci-fi, fantasy arena. But original is really high up there. And that's what struck us as super interesting, because original is not something you'd necessarily expect from a show that's part of a deep, long-running franchise, but they deliver the show in a way that really is original. It takes this completely different character in the Star Wars universe, one that we have never really paid much attention to, and it really deepens his story. And then when we look at season 1 versus season 2, even more amazing is the fact that its perceptions of original have gone up in season 2. So original doesn't just mean new, in many ways I think it means different. And what they did a brilliant job of in season 2 was actually, by the end, this is a spoiler alert, but they connected this kind of different story about the Mandalorian, and they connected it back by the end to the wider universe, and to the kind of the most well-known character in the whole franchise, which is Luke Skywalker. And I think The Mandalorian is obviously a great example of you can be original, and you can and not feel necessarily like predictable and that you're just repeating old content. But it's not the only show that has done that. Cobra Kai is another great example of a show that's reimagined old IP from the Karate Kid, and it's perceived as original, and it's won over brand new viewers, some of whom weren't even aware of the original title in the franchise. So I hope, giving you kind of, some interesting thoughts and that got the wheels spinning, but there's lots more to unpack here in terms of old library content and how to revive it and how to refresh it. So I'm always around and would love to talk.